Okay, this is a BMW R1200 RT 2005. I noticed after a very short drive, I came back from that and found that I smelled like gasoline. My pants smelled like gas, and my boots smelled like gas, and the bike smelled like gas. And then I noticed that the bike had a bunch of gasoline under it after I had just started up to let it run for a bit. And this is why. Notice this part. Watch. Okay, I think we can all agree that regardless of whatever design motorcycle should have, it should have a design where that's not possible. Okay, I'm amazed that I wasn't immolated on that ride. That's all I got to say. Okay, so I normally don't do videos and post them on YouTube, so this is going to be woeful, but I think that it's essential for anybody who's got one of these R bikes to be aware that this fitting right here will fail inside, and it will spew gasoline all over you and turn you into the Human Torch if you're unlucky. I was lucky it didn't turn me into the Human Torch, but it's scary enough that I blew through 18 liters of gasoline before I knew what was going on. So I'm going to cut this part off here, right here. I'm going to cut this part. I'm going to cut this part. I'm going to replace both of these fittings here. These are available from a number of sources. I got these off Amazon, but there's other places. These are the same. It's made by the same company that makes the ones that are on the bike, except that these are nickel-plated brass rather than just plastic, which fatigued and failed on this and spewed me with gasoline. So I'll stop and go through the various sections. Basically, I'm gonna use a Dremel tool to cut these puppies off. Right, well, I just have to cut this one, and I cut these two. Remove these two fittings, this one and this one. Put the PTFE goo on the inside of these threads after cleaning them out, and then put them back together and see if that works. So come along with the adventure and we can take a look. Okay, you can see I use the Dremel tool to just make slices on those metal bands. The good thing is that when you cut across the band, there's a metal piece underneath, so you don't need to worry too much about the metal piece underneath. You don't need to worry too much about cutting into the hose. You do want to make sure all your gasoline is well cleaned up because, of course, when you're doing the grinding, it's going to get hot and create sparks. I'm going to move this one out of the way before I take on this last one up here. This guy, that's the one I have to remove to get this fitting out. So I did grind that down, and I didn't have to grind it all the way through. I just got it down to where it was really weakened and twisted it with a pair of pliers, and it broke loose. So now I can disassemble this thing and put on the new parts. 19 wrench, and I put it straight on, and I was able to just twist it off pretty easily. It came out pretty easily. The other part, pulling out of the hose, that took some force, so you want to wear gloves and be ready for that. So okay, there's the removed part with the goo on it. I'm going to clean up that goo and get the new part ready to put in there. Okay, here's the soft set gasoil, I guess, thread sealant. I'll put that on and screw this in and see how that goes. Okay, there's the new part in there. One thing I didn't do that I would recommend that you do is when you get that little tube, make sure you knead it. Move it around and mix it around in there before you open it. It was a little bit separated when I opened it. I held onto the cut end and then just mixed it up and then got the heavier part mixed in there. And then I just screwed this in finger tight. Okay, don't put the wrench on until you're absolutely certain you don't have it cross-threaded or you're toast. So that's the next step. I put that on because while I was jerking around with these to get these off, and literally jerking them off, I wanted to make sure that I didn't get any more dirt inside the gas tank. Okay, so now I've got all the parts in place, and I have to attach the clamps here and tighten down this bolt with a wrench and get all the clamps in place, and then put it together, and then see if it can fire up without spewing gasoline all over everywhere. Okay, so everything's attached and tightened up. You have to very carefully insert that O-ring so you don't guillotine a part of it off when you're doing it. You have to push the slide in to make room for it. I set these screws so that they're not touching anything when they move, and this one up here is not touching anything when it moves, so I don't have any abrasion. The nut here is a 7mm if you want to set your socket to that. So now's the moment of truth. Let's turn on the bike and see if it spews gas all over it or not. Here we go. Now everything's back together, connected, bike's running, no leaks, no damage. So mission accomplished. Okay, well, just an editorial comment, and that is that, you know, myself, I've always been a bit of a Silver Surfer kind of guy, or maybe even, you know, Doctor Strange kind of guy. You know, I like Doctor Strange. Becoming the Human Torch was never my ambition.